Welcome to Ifinance Mortgage. I'm your host, Tiffanie Phillips, and today's guests, I have two top realtors with me today, Ryan Del Toro and Ray Cornejo.
Pleasure to meet you.
How are you guys doing?
Good.
We're doing great. How about yourself?
Thank you. I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for coming out today. And, this is just going to be a conversation with us so we can help our buyers, sellers, just help them navigate this tricky market and where we've been. And I know Ryan is going to be in a little bit of different areas, out of Orange County, Central Valley, you said, and the High Desert.
In the High Desert.
So those are great markets that we can kind of dive into, as well as still out here. You're also in the Inland Empire. So that definitely helps us get some strategies, some tips, while navigating those areas, maybe if they're really good for investments. We will dive into that as well.
That's right.
Perfect.
So first off, let's just start. Why don't you guys start by telling me how you got into real estate and kind of how long you've been doing it and, how that passion kind of came about.
Yeah, of course. Well, I got into real estate maybe about when I was 19 years old. I started out in the mortgage industry. I was just a standard processor, and then went through one of those layoffs that everyone in the mortgage industry goes through at the beginning of their career. And actually, one of the brokers that we worked with, she told me, hey, why don't you get into real estate? You can make a ton of money. You got the personality and the people in the industry. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, let me give it a shot. Got my license. Failed miserably for the first maybe 6 months, and then ended up getting my loan license. Did that for a few years, and decided to get back into real estate once I saw that the market was starting to lean more towards that way. Yeah, so that's how I got into it.
Now you do both.
Yeah, mostly real estate for the most part, and REO foreclosure properties. And then, we go to you for our loans, of course, as you know. Mm-hmm.
And the REOs, we are going to dive into that because you guys are specializing in that right now.
That is right. That's right.
And then, Ray, how did you get started?
So I got in the industry back in 2005. Ironically, I was at the gym and I started talking to this gentleman. He said, you know what, I have a mortgage company. Would you like to work for me? I said no. I was doing claims for a dental company back in the day. I went home. The next day, we had a bickering with one of my coworkers, and I said, okay, I'm done, because we had going on for a while. And I went back and I said, hey, you're still up for me hiring? And he's like, well, let me talk to my business partner. And the rest is history. I got licensed in 2007. And I had really some very successful years. 2010 was very rough. So I left the industry in 2012, 2013. Thought about doing something else for a couple of years. And one of my very close managers from what I was doing back in the day, he said, you know what? You gotta go back to what you know, and I did listen to him. I went back to mortgages in 2016, and I did that for about until 2023.
Yep.
And same thing as Ryan. I met Ryan in our previous company, and we said, you know what? I love his work ethic. He's very genuine. He's a very hard worker. And he's always up for challenges, same as myself. So we partner up and we said, look, let's take on this market. And we've been pretty successful. We've been working, and this year alone, we've been pretty successful. So we're just going at it strong.
Yeah, and I love that you guys kind of decided to kind of partner up and form that team or partnership. And I feel like that's huge right now in the real estate industry, because it just, it helps both of you out there kind of doing it together, and really, you're able to assist more areas, and just kind of have that.
And I think we do have a very good dynamic as well. He's very he doesn't shy away. He does not take no for an answer. Where I might be able to bring a little more of the experience, the softness into whenever we need to. There's times that he goes a little too hard, and I have to slow down, because I'm obviously 15 years older, so obviously I got more experience in sales, and he has he's getting into it. So obviously, like sometimes I have to like, hey, remind him of you have to like be soft sales too, because we all want to make
balance,
sure like a little balance, exactly.
But
so
don't hold him back too far.
No.
Exactly.
So
yes, you gotta like he's gonna break through just because you think like, okay, sometimes it's like I'm known for like high energy too, you know, sometimes like, but I do also like to kind of be okay, like held back a little bit.
Right.
So.
Or at least tone down when.
At least, a little. Sometimes I need to be told, like, look, we're hang back here.
And I think I'm able to show him the ropes too, navigating the industry, because again, I was here 2008, 2009, 2010. So him being more new to the industry, I can bring him a little more of that. Like, hey, it's gonna be fine. We just have to get through these rough times, but we're gonna be ahead of a lot of people that have left the industry and they're looking to jump in.
100%.
Keeping the tools
and
sharp.
That's huge. That like I feel like that experience really helps too. Talking to someone that has weathered a lot of other markets,
Right.
Different markets, and just like 2008, like it seems like you've had that fluctuation throughout the different types. It's definitely a different feeling when somebody like that tells you, hey, it's going to be okay.
Exactly.
Versus
I've been through this before. This is what we got to do to prepare.
Versus someone that just got licensed, like, yes, they're positive, thinking positive, but it definitely adds that to the level, like, okay, like they're still here, they've still chosen, you know, this industry, they're still going strong, they're still building, there must be something left here to build.
It helps you navigate better when those market shifts happen, you know, you got to adapt.
Sometimes you have to remind yourself too that you got to surround with people who are very like-minded. And one of the things that we do have is, if I'm feeling a little bit down, I feel like, hey, it's gonna be okay, and vice versa, you know, same thing. And that's one of the things that why we chose to do our first podcast with you, is because we love your energy, you know, like you're a very outgoing person. I think that's one of the things that we hear you bring to us here in this environment, that you're always like trying to go out there and pushing yourself. You know, you like like Ryan. You bring us energy.
It's a goal. I want to inspire.
Exactly, and you're doing it. I mean, we see the results.
I want to educate. I want to, you know.
Education, and you're always bringing a lot of value to the team. A lot of people that we're actually starting to do business with, whether it's title reps, whether it's people in this industry, whatever it is.
Good seeds.
Exactly.
You know, there and some of them too. It's like I look for that. Like, how is it? And I think of that. Like, how is it going to bring benefit to my team?
Right.
You know, some may really go the extra mile on marketing, some may go the extra mile on like helping you the technical side.
Right.
Like just recently we had one that was more like build it, like kind of farming and teaching, and that's
education. Continue to grow.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that for us.
And then, so you both are now with Villa Home. Yes. So, and how long have you guys been with them?
So the mortgage company that we were actually at, Carrington, they were owned by Villa Homes. So, and that's kind of the reason why we got in there, because they don't require us to go through their direct lending pricing. We're able to still work with brokers like yourselves, and so,
and that's really good.
But they offer us foreclosures, and they have a great network of not just their loans that they own and service, but also other companies that go through their servicing products. So that's why we're with them, because we were at that company. We saw how it was on the real estate side. When we decided to make that shift, it was the perfect fit, because it's a little bit of combination of both. You still have access to those that, deep bank pockets, but also you have are able to utilize that on the real estate side and get the foreclosures.
And then so can you further into like the REOs? So like how does that work? Like how does that kind of help maybe even some of the buyers that you're shopping with? Like, do you kind of get them first? Are they like really good deals? Are they off market?
So we have to play by the rules, right? Yeah. So obviously we have to present all offers to the hedge fund, to the asset manager. So whatever comes in is what we have to present to the asset manager. We can't pick and choose because obviously we'll get in trouble. However, we do bring some of these properties to people that we know and be like, hey, you know what? We have this REO going on. Would you like to be a participant of this? And then they'll let us know where they stand if they want to partake in that investment or not.
And then just to clarify, REO is another term for foreclosure.
Perfect.
Yeah. So
can you extend on like what an REO is and what that would mean for a client? Like maybe are they distressed?
So essentially what it is,
maybe the neighborhoods are still really good.
So what it is, just to give you a full understanding, basic understanding, is Carrington Mortgage is a servicer. They own all of these homes, right? And because they have that large overhead, that's why companies like that have such high pricing. But basically, these homes that they own and service, when they're bound to have foreclosures. When you own 900,000, $1 million loans, you're bound to have people that are going through foreclosure, especially in times like this. So what they do is the foreclosure process, they give them the notice of default, let them know that the bank is now taking back the property. Sometimes it can be as quick as 3 months. Sometimes it could take up to 3 years, 6 years for some of these homes to actually go through foreclosure, just because of all the legal action that needs to go behind it. And some people have $3 million plus homes that they're in, and they're going through default, but they'll stay in there for 6+ years because they know they have the attorneys. But long story short, the bank is foreclosing on the property, so they give agents like us, we're their eyes in the sky, because the hedge fund owners and the asset managers, they're all in New York or in Texas, so they use us to go and scout the property, give them comparables, take pictures, conditions, updates on the property, so they can come up with a valuation. Now we play within the legal rights, of course, but we always try to get as good of a deal for ourselves or our investors with these properties. So we're basically showing the bank, hey, you can see homes are selling for $500,000 in this neighborhood, but this home's been deferred. I mean, think about it. When you're going through foreclosure, what kinds of people, what are they doing in there? You never know. So we can get homes for much under market value.
That's what I was gonna.
Before they're even listed on the marketplace.
Like, are a lot of them going to be listed lower than the value?
That's the beauty. Not even getting listed.
Yeah,
we're showing our investors.
Know these guys.
Exactly.
That's your next home. That's your next in.
Yeah, it's crazy. A lot of these homes that you see on the market, they've actually gone through sometimes 2 or 3 hands. If it's not the seller selling the property, it's gone through an investor buying
wholesale,
super cheap,
wholesalers,
or foreclosures, which are pretty rare. But
do you guys? Maybe your customers, a lot of them are wholesalers.
No, actually,
investors more so.
Investors.
I mean, again, we have to play by the rules, so we have to when we are given the REO, we have to let people know. Look, I mean, I have an REO. This is what's.
You don't list it.
Sometimes we don't even get to list it because offers come in, right? And they start a bidding war too. So all of a sudden, instead of sometimes we don't even have the time to list it. Basically, is what I'm saying.
So we've already found a buyer.
So
listed on the market.
Exactly. So, but to your point is, an REO is a distressed property. Basically, unfortunately, a family could not continue to make payments. Circumstances have happened in life, and the bank has to come in, foreclose on the property, and they basically hire us, or we are basically working for the company. And like I said, we're the eyes in the sky, where we do have agents in certain areas. So for him, he's more like in the Central Valley. I am more like in Southern California, all the way to San Marcos. So we pretty much, they put us in different areas wherever there's need. And basically, once we have a property, or they'll let us know, look, this is a property that is ready to go to REO, we have to go and start the process, talking to the asset manager and so on and so forth. But we're basically the eyes in the sky for the asset manager and for the hedge fund.
But properties that we don't service ourselves, the ones that aren't assigned to us, we have a full list of properties that are going through the foreclosure process.
Okay. So
and the agents that are assigned, so we have that firsthand insight before anything ever hits the market.
So it definitely puts you ahead, if you have access to one of those lists, because these are the homes that, I mean, the payment, the only reason the payment is being made. So it's like they could be great areas.
Exactly.
Good.
Well, I mean,
great areas still, but the homes that they're not seeing them when they're looking on Zillow, and that's been a big issue right now with the inventory, and just like a lot of our clients, they're like, with what is on the market, like the amount of money that they would have to kind of put in to fix it. And instead, it's like, it would be great to have an in that's like, hey, let me know if anything ever comes up that's going to be a good fit for my family.
And just to for all those NBA fanatics and Kobe Bryant lovers, we actually the company that we work for had a listing in right next to Kobe's house.
Foreclosure.
Wow. So it's up in the millions, obviously, like it's up in the hills. So it's Pelican Hill, exactly. So it's not just your typical, like let's just say people that live in Riverside County or Orange County. It's not just your typical Inland Empire type of REOs. Like the company has mortgages all over. So whenever you're looking for an asset, or whenever you find an asset and it's in distress, basically this is where you bring to your investors, and that's when you bring to people like, hey, we have a great deal or a great property, let's just say in Laguna Beach, are you interested? So it's not just your $200,000, $300,000 type of scenarios. You're looking at
a notes tab,
exactly,
and like what they're looking for, and then just as it comes up,
So
that's how I'm color coded, and like on an Excel sheet.
Yes.
So then when something comes up, I know exactly like,
who to
I'm gonna call.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So you are mainly in like Central Valley area and high desert. So in those areas, what have you kind of been seeing right now? Do you have, like, since you are in contact with a lot of investors, is that like a good place to invest in right now?
Yeah.
Are there multiple units, maybe some affordable duplexes, or if they were looking to invest, would it be best maybe like some holds? Like, how's the rent over there?
Yeah, so in the Central Valley, both Central Valley and High Desert, those are two very blue collar areas. Okay. So those kinds of buyers, they're going to be very post where the interest rates are, because their income's at a certain level, you know what I mean? And as inflation goes up, you might make 2 or 3, 5% more a year, but it's not enough to compensate, the hikes in payments and
so
purchase.
So they're probably going to be renting.
And inflation.
These are going to be like long renters. Like, they'll probably rent in the same house maybe like 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
So that would be like a
good
hold.
Flipping is harder right now in those areas because, like I said, the buyers aren't even able to afford the interest rates. So you're seeing a lot of homes sit on the market for a lot longer than they should, unless you're willing to go at a really good price, right under or at market, really right under market value. It's going to sit there for probably anywhere from 60 to 90 days. So that's what we've seen there. As far as investors, there's a lot of land in the high desert, not a lot of inventory. And with them adding in the UPS warehouse, they're going to expand the airport there in Apple Valley, the new train system that's going to be going from LA out to Vegas. You're going to start to see.
So there's going to be a lot of builds coming out.
There's going to be a lot of builds. If you throw up a duplex or a triplex out there, there's definitely renters for it. I mean, my little sister was renting this tiny little Cracker Jack box of an apartment for like $1,600 a month, and it was 4 other little unit, 1 unit property, or part of it's 4 unit, 1 bedroom, 1 bath units, and it's just insane how high the rents are and how cheap and affordable it is to buy some land and build out there.
Just to build, and then knowing that everything that they're building later, like in the next maybe 5-10 years, like you said, the train and all these things, because they're doing something like from LA to Vegas, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yep.
So that's going to be huge and something that is going to last forever. Keep growing. In between, they're going to keep growing more and more. So it's like the appreciation on something like that throughout the years is probably gonna keep.
You could probably buy and flip, but you can also hold and know that you're gonna have
just
hold
it. I would probably get something out there on land and then just hold it, rent it, and then as the years might be worth, who knows, in like 10-15 years, if they have all that built around it now, like an LA to Vegas, I mean, those are never going out of style.
Never.
Like it's always going to be it's gonna keep building,
and it keeps growing inland.
Yeah.
I mean, look what's happened in Orange County, Inland Empire. I can't believe San Bernardino homes are going for what they're going for nowadays.
Oh,
it's
wow.
insane.
Yeah. All right, so you're kind of in that San Bernardino area?
Oh no, I just grew up there for part of my life because my parents were in the military, so we were there for a little while. And I remember my mom told me she bought their home for couple $100,000, and now the same home's going for $800,000. It's and it's San Bernardino.
I feel like
kind
that's
of ridiculous,
where my parents is. Like it's in Whittier though.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like
LA.
But like on the back, they're on the border, like, and it's still just like a nice, like a nice little area. Yeah. But yeah, I think they got it 150 and it's almost 9.
Exactly. So I could see that happening in the high desert very easily,
that's
especially
what I
with that
think
train.
Too. See, but again, that's like a long game. That's like the long game.
Well, it's kind of like
that's you building wealth
you buy in
for
your
generation.
Right.
Like maybe not even your child, but like you're thinking ahead for like their child.
Exactly.
So it's something that would be way down the road.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's most investors' mentality.
Yeah.
It's like, so now if they know, it might wait a little bit until they get a little closer and actually start building. But yeah, once they do, what do you think a lot would be in that area?
But one of the things, before, just let me chime in for a little. One of the things that we have to understand is that the big ballers, like for example, D.R. Horton, Lennar, and all these other companies, if you're holding a piece of land out there for like the last 5-6 years, 10 years maybe, they'll come in and they'll buy your property fast because they want to build 10, 20, 30 homes, in that area. So,
like, what?
So even if you're buying land right now at a very affordable price, think about what that land is going to do in the next few years.
Exactly.
Because
you got to think.
We just have to let's just take Orange County. They're still buying land in Orange County. It's super expensive here. But you have companies that they have very deep pockets. They don't care where it is. They'll just come in, subdivide, and build a new community there. So it is a great time to invest in those areas because, like he was saying, if you're going to have all this movement going on in Victorville and all these areas around it,
they're building.
Go in. Like we're seeing, for example, San Jacinto is a great example. I mean, San Jacinto, 10 years ago, like no one wanted to move to San Jacinto. You had older homes. It was very far from everything. I went to show homes in San Jacinto not too long ago. Properties are $700,000, $800,000 over there. The same house in Orange County is gonna cost you $1.5-2 million homes. But again, if we would have invested back in the day in land in San Jacinto, companies come in, builders come in, they buy your land, and they pay you top dollar for your land,
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
If you just kind of got some land, not not really worried about it, and then some
I'll park some money
here.
Some
some big people come in and they're like, here, we'll give you like 7 times the way you paid for it. Like that's amazing. That's always like a needle in the haystack though, like that's you can't that's almost like a lottery ticket. So you can't really be fixated on that happening. But of course, you never know. It's like a possibility. If you set yourself up right, and it's almost just one of those things. It's like, just like anything, when you're trying to work towards something, or if you set it up right, you never know, like the opportunity, or you might be set up just at that perfect time for something, something great to kind of pay out.
Yeah, we're not saying go and buy a bunch of pieces of land and wait and see what happens. No, but it is more affordable up there for developing, especially with the lack of inventory.
It's a strategy for the long game, and I said, who knows when they're going to start building that, but that's good to know.
Well, they've already touched ground. I don't think they're in the high desert yet, but I know that they've started getting stations going.
They're definitely, especially once they kind of get more focused on the train and the movement and it going, then it's like, I feel like it's going to be one of those things where it's like there was nothing, and then when you go out there the next time,
it's everything.
It's full. Like, they can't, it takes forever to get like one house made, but they're gonna put those, you're gonna have it filled on both sides
within a year, 2 years, you're gonna see a full city develop.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because you have a lot of money. You have track homes. Like you have people that come in, they're working night and day, because I mean it's up there in the desert, so you don't have a lot of people complaining about the noise. So they start really early. They go to home very late. Because they want to get the process
get it up.
Yep.
What do you think a lot out there would be right now? Like
an acre lot, 5-acre lot.
Yeah. Like
I'd say you could
just
get
something like if you were going to build maybe like a duplex or something out there.
Well, yeah, it depends what you can get your price per square footage at. But as far as a piece of land, I mean, it depends where that's located too, because there's more, I guess, developed parts of the desert there. So, for example, my buddy, he's got 2 5-acre lots right next to each other in front of a school in Apple Valley. I think they bought them maybe 3 years ago they bought both pieces of land for $60,000 total.
Oh wow.
30 a piece, and they now have, like we're talking about, developer who wants to build, divide it into 10 different lots, and I think they're looking to buy it at about $250, $290. I don't know how much what their development cost is going to look like. Because I'm not a part of that deal there, but that's one thing that, how some things are going out there.
So it definitely, but you could still get some land like at a reasonable.
Yeah, the reason that's gone up there is because there's a school literally right across the street. And then, people weren't thinking about building in front of the school 5 years ago when homes weren't in such high demand, Yeah.
But now too, do people like to live, like, I guess it's convenient if you live like right there, if you have kids.
Well, exactly. So,
I don't think like that, but
or dirt bikes.
But it sounds,
ride the bikes.
But it makes sense. I hear that from a lot of investors. Like they do think of that if there's schools around or hospitals when they're picking what type of investment they're going to do.
Right.
And then into kind of like right now, and you're more in the inland, like Orange County area.
That's right. Right. So our main focus, or where Villa has me stationed most of the time, is basically anywhere from Tustin, parts of Inland Empire, and all the way to San Marcos. So they have me in different areas, and that's one of the things that Villa does allow us to do, to be in different areas where there's high demand. So
and less coverage.
Agent
coverage.
Yep. So the less agents they have in that area, the better it is for us, because obviously we're top of mind when something does come to that area. So
things aren't as available right there?
So it's not that things are not as available. Let's just say, for example, San Marcos, you have a Cal-State in San Marcos, right? So most of the time where people try to keep the houses for longer, because it's easier to rent for students that are not from the local.
Yeah.
So you don't have as much default in those areas. But then again, it's just opportunities,
Yeah.
So the more places you put yourself in, the more opportunities you have at batting, basically.
And then how are you guys guiding your clients right now? So outside of the REOs, like say you're with a buyer or maybe possible sellers, how are you advising them on this market? Like, if they're waiting, maybe some are waiting on the sidelines, maybe to buy, maybe some are waiting now. I feel like some are waiting till July to list their houses, but we won't get into that. But how are you kind of guiding them on that? Like, when is the right time?
So I helped my sister and my brother-in-law buy their house not too long ago, maybe like a couple of months ago, and they were on the sideline for quite some time, because you hear a lot of people say, the market is going to turn and the properties are going to go down, and then so on and so forth. But one of the things that brought light to me, and it actually just turned a light bulb in my head, is when my sister said, look, our parents have they bought in 1994, so it's going to be 30 years they've been homeowners. They didn't know anything about the market. They didn't know whether the property was high priced, was underpriced. They didn't know anything. They didn't even care about the rate. All they care about was they wanted a shelter over our head, and that they could afford the payment, and the rest is history. So what I tell people is, like, if you go in with a mentality of buying your home because you want to better yourself, the right time is anytime, if you're if your mindset is more of an investor, then obviously we're going to talk to you and we're going to look for properties for you as an investor.
Smart.
But if you're a buyer and this is your home, it's always the right time, because if you're on the sideline and things end up going up, you're going to pay a higher price for that property.
Yep.
And I think I take that mentality that my sister taught me, and I tell people all the time, look, my parents have been homeowners for the last 30 years. If they would have thought about the market turning, or if they would have kept an ear open to the news and everything else that social media is going out there for, they would have never been homeowners, or they would have probably bought out exactly. Yeah. So you just have to focus, make sure that you can make your payment, make sure that your family is going to have a roof over their head, and from that point forward, just continue to live your life based on what you can afford. Don't never over buy a property that you're not going to be able to make, because then obviously you're shooting for failure. So always buy within your margins, if this is what I can afford, this is how I feel comfortable, go for that property. In the future has a lot of uncertainty for everyone, so just focus on the today, and then we'll figure the next couple of years what's going to happen.
And everybody will be refinancing.
Right. Exactly.
That's everyone's game plan right now. Like, just get in, thinking about the equity.
Yep. Before the market continues to go up even higher.
Refinance as soon as possible. Right. Not right now, obviously, but soon.
Yes.
Exactly. But
that's
hopefully.
Exactly right.
It keeps kind of getting pushed back now. Might be 2025, but as soon as we can.
Yep.
And then for you, kind of, how are you guiding?
How am I guiding my clients? Well, he hit the nail on the head there. That was perfect. I mean, because you can't really time the market. When you try and time the market, that's when you're going to end up either overpaying, or you're going to, hold off too long and then get in there. Downturn happened. Oh, well, guess what? That didn't affect, as long as you could afford the home, you didn't get laid off, of course, but that doesn't affect your end game plan with the home, as long as, my parents and grandma, and they've all been through so many downturns and upturns, and still, grandmother's in the same home. Didn't affect her one bit. Her home's paid off, and still has her taxes. So, I just basically try and do the same thing. Let them know when the time is. If for your standard buyer, it's what you can afford, and in that time frame. For your sellers, I don't want to have them make any hasty decisions. So, let them sit on it for a little while, but still, definitely want to try and pull
sooner than later.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, do you, I know some do like to wait just for the summertime. Like, do you now seeing like this, and this is kind of how we'll wrap it up. You guys can kind of put your prediction in, like, so we haven't had that rate drop yet that we had a little one in January, which was awesome for the people that refinanced. I know some people went from 7s to 5s. They did have some 5.7, 5.6 on the boards, and we did get clients in, which was amazing. But there was that window, and then now we're kind of back in the 7s.
Exactly.
So we haven't really had that drop this year. So kind of what is your prediction? Now we're going into summer. Like, a lot are kind of waiting to list it. Like, where do you kind of see it going? And maybe, just kind of advise them.
I always, obviously, the best, one of the best things that we have is market analysis, right? So we can time the market based on the market analysis that we have.
Do you follow that a lot?
I do, because I think that if you are in this industry and you're not following the 10-year treasury bond, and you're not following the current market analysis, depending on where your buyers are or your sellers are, then you're not doing your job. Like, you constantly have to be sharpening your tools. You constantly have to be looking at what the real estate market is doing. You don't want your buyer to miss out on an opportunity. If you have a market dip, like, if you're there and you're like, hey, you know what, the market dip for this week, let's get you in, because now we can actually have you afford a better payment. Same thing with your sellers. You don't want them to miss out. But again, we are advisors, we're consultants, right? So we can only help them with those tools that we have access to, educate them as much as possible. But at the end of the day, on a seller's perspective, they are going to pull the trigger on what the best time is. Because I don't want to be responsible for saying to my customer, look, you should have waited longer. Because if they do, obviously that's going to be a repercussion for me because they're going to say, well, you told me to wait. So I bring the tools to the table.
Yeah.
Here's the market analysis.
I like that. That's what I do.
This is the last 6 months. This is the last 3 months.
What do you want to do?
What do you want to do? Yes.
I present it like that too. And because you want them to make the decision. Like, here's all your options.
Exactly.
And then here's also what can happen.
Right.
Like, if we lock today, it could go down tomorrow and it could go up.
Right.
But if it goes up, now you're going to be out of your comfort zone.
Right.
If it goes down, that's great. But, you know, if it does shoot up a little bit. So I usually try to give them that gauge as well. But I do kind of think that it's still all gonna happen at once.
Right.
Too.
Yep.
So just be prepared.
Exactly.
Just like as long as is that kind of and your kind of prediction or how you're.
Yeah, I guess we're not I guess market advisors, so none of us can predict, but I mean I really don't believe that home values are going to go down. I mean, I know so many people personally that are on the sidelines waiting that don't qualify right now.
Down home values?
Waiting on the sidelines for rates because they want to buy a home so bad. It's like I was telling you in those blue collar areas. When the rates come down, and maybe 2%, they're going to be able to qualify for $1,000 more monthly payment. So you're going to see a whole bunch of people jump back into the market.
Then the prices are going to go up.
So demand's already there.
Really, even though the rates are going down, but then if the prices go up. So that's where we're kind of showing them the numbers, like, should you wait? Because then you might be in the same spot. It might seem a little lower.
The reason being is they don't qualify.
Yeah.
So they just flat out don't. We were working on one together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just wait till the rates go down a little bit. She qualify for that extra $50,000-$60,000 that she needs.
Yes.
And we're going to be able to get into her home. So that's why I don't think the demand will go down, and so I don't see the values really dropping too much, only going up.
Well, even if the prices, even if the rates go down and they have a little bit better payment too, you also have to think that if the prices go up, all of a sudden you have to take up more out of your pocket because at 3.5 at
well, that's what we're
500,000,
trying to explain. Like, hey, you're gonna wait. Like, sure, your payment might be a little lower, but now the house is $40,000 more.
So you're out of pocket.
But now the house,
the 3.5 is more at $550 than it is at $500,000. For example. So
I haven't seen that. I agree with that one on social media. I've even posted one myself that it has like now it kind of shows maybe something listed at like $650, and then it's like where our rate is, and then it adds like 50,000 or 100,000. It's like if you wait, then it goes up, and then the payment is still actually a little lower. Because of the prices.
But your out of pocket for the down payment is actually higher because you're buying higher too.
Yeah.
So you
costs go up.
Yeah,
I
so
know,
you don't want to wait for that either.
Something that usually it's like, when the rates go down. But that's what I do try. I'm sure you guys do with your clients as well. Focus on the payment.
That's what we always tell.
Who cares what the rate is? Let's where is your spending money? Where is your actual expenses? Where is the wiggle room here? And I usually give them that as well. So if they do find a house that's a little like, hey, this is, you're going to be on a noodle diet over here, but if it's for the right house, I let them know, but then we talk, I'll call it a noodle diet. Like, if you pick that higher end, you can afford it, but it's going to have a little sacrifice.
Yes,
so,
that's exactly right.
But as long as they're choosing, but like you said, just lay out all the options.
It's all about educating your customers, whether it's a buyer, a seller, a borrower on your mortgage side. Just present them the options. Present them with different options and let them choose, because what's really good for you, they have a different ideas, and sometimes customers don't actually tell you everything they have to tell you. Sometimes people, they tell you enough just to like for them to get in, but
it's up to us.
You have to probe them. You have to make sure that you ask the right questions, because sometimes they're going through something else, and you're like, well, why is it that you're not seeing what I'm seeing on this opportunity? But it's not your deal. You have to see it from their perspective and
just
ask
paint
them.
The picture.
Just paint the picture. Exactly.
Well, I just want to thank Ryan and Ray, guys. Thank you so much for coming out. I'll have all their information below. If you guys are looking for REOs or all that good stuff, comment, share, subscribe. I will have their information at the bottom. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for everyone.
Thank you, everyone.